are back with another episode of the Tan and J-Man Show on this freezing Monday night, November 14th. How you doing tonight, T-Dog?
It is freezing, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to get any warmer. If anything, it's going to get colder. I see the temperature here in Indiana, northeast Indiana, on Friday, the high's 25.
Here, too. And we were just put on a winter weather advisory for the first time this season for tomorrow night. So that'll be fun to wake up on Wednesday morning.
That time of year.
Yep.
The only good thing about this time of year is it means basketball season. But other than that,
basketball season's underway.
Not many good things about that this time of year.
Agreed. Got some birdie bogey for me?
I do. You are 2 up going into this question. So you could really take maybe a commanding, impossible to come from behind lead here if you get it right. How many
weeks we got left? Six weeks left? Is that it? Of the year?
Not many.
Oh, man. Where's it gone?
It's, ridiculous. But got an NFL question for you here. I see I'm frozen on camera. That's great. That probably means my webcam's going out. But as long as you can hear me, I'm going to keep going.
I can hear you.
All right. Justin Fields is the 4th player in NFL history to record both a 50-yard passing touchdown and a 50-yard rushing touchdown in the same game, alongside Ace Parker. I'm giving you that one. Mm-hmm. And these other 2 players.
A 50-yard rushing touchdown and a 50-yard passing touchdown?
In the same game.
Okay, well, one of these quarterbacks did it against my team in week 2, so I know that one. But yeah, it's a good question there. The other guy I don't, that's tough. Birdie Bogey, brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC for fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce. And Bryce and Katie Romine of Mentone, Indiana. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and check out their website, noblegnomellc.com. Get your veggies. Tanner is still frozen on my end. Can he hear me?
I can hear you. I just can't get my stuff frozen off. I might have to jump out of the studio and jump back in.
It's not the most flattering picture of you either. That it does.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that real quick.
All right. Baseball offseason is underway now. Free agents can sign with any teams. Not a whole lot has happened up to this point. A minor trade between the Rockies and the Braves back right after the World Series ended, but still a lot of rumors flying around. Tampa Bay Rays are trying to clear some 40-man spots, so they've been hot and heavy with the trade talks, supposedly, with a number of teams, including with the Cubs. They have some pieces that could be very desirable. Tyler Glasnow is one, as far as the Cubs go, that I'd love for them to make a deal on. He'd be huge. Cubs need a top of the rotation sort of guy, and Tyler Glasnow could be it. But other than that, not a whole lot of rumors with baseball offseason underway. Jose Abreu is a free agent that the Cubs are very interested in. It sounds like they're going to make an absolute priority. They are the betting favorites to sign Carlos Correa as well, according to DraftKings. But other than that, not a whole lot of baseball news. The Rule 5 deadline is Wednesday, so guys who are Rule 5 eligible have to be added to the 40-man roster by Wednesday, or they will be subjected to the Rule 5 draft. But yeah, as I said, other than that, not a whole lot going on in baseball.
Yeah, I got nothing on the baseball end. So,
but Tanner's back. Tanner's camera's back, and that's all that matters.
Yep, it's just ignore the names underneath the pictures.
I'm not Tanner Lee.
Yeah, there you go.
I might be, but give you the hottest takes possible.
Go for it. We need some. So, what are we starting with tonight, J-Man? Are we starting college basketball? Are we starting college football? Are we starting NFL?
We can talk some college hoops here real quick.
All right.
Purdue and Illinois are both 2-0.
Well,
so that's good.
Thank goodness. I mean, if they dropped either one of their first 2 games, there'd be a lot of problems.
Yeah. Has anyone in the Big Ten lost yet? Michigan State lost to Gonzaga by 1.
Yes, they have.
But they played a lot better than I think a lot of people thought they would. against the number 2 team in the country. Gonzaga struggled. They got blown out by Tennessee in a scrimmage earlier in the year. Obviously didn't look that great against Michigan State. They only beat them by 1. But I believe Michigan State's the only Big Ten loss so far, which you hate to see it.
I do have to give a shout out here to Thad Mooney on Facebook. Said, "Dear Santa, please give Tanner a new computer for Christmas." So, yes, Santa, if you're listening, I think I've been a good boy this year. New laptop, please.
It's what, 6 years old now, I think, right?
Got it in Christmas of 2016, or right around Christmas 2016. And really, I think it's the USB drives just don't want to work more times than not. But that's part of the internal part of the computer. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'd be an end of an era for sure.
All good things must come to an end, J-Man.
They must, and they always do, unfortunately.
But Michigan got a scare the other night
They got a scare
Michigan.
by Eastern Michigan. Yeah. Imoni Bates had a 30 against them after having a DNP coach's decision game 1. Of course, he had one of the most hyped up high school basketball players ever, number 1 player in his class, goes to Memphis, doesn't do a whole lot there, transfers to Eastern Michigan, gets arrested for a couple things, gets off with very little. I think he is sentenced on December 14th, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like he's looking at probation for 2 years or so. But now he's at Eastern Michigan after gracing the cover of Sports Illustrated in 2018 when he was just, how old would he have been? 15 years old, maybe. So quite the fall from grace, but he put on an absolute show against Michigan on Friday.
Yeah, he played well. He proved he can hang with the big boys with big competitions. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of year he has the rest of the way. But I don't think he's good enough to take the Eagles to the NCAA tournament, but I could be wrong.
You never know, but yeah, I'm with you on that. Eastern Michigan hasn't been good in basketball forever. No,
I can never remember them being good.
And sometimes all it takes is one guy. But he had 30 against Michigan and kept them right in it. And, they had chances late too, and they just couldn't overcome it. Hunter Dickinson had 31 points for Michigan. He's pretty good. So.
Making our preseason Big Ten Player of the Year prediction look pretty good.
Look pretty good, unfortunately. But Big Ten this week finally starts a big round of games, starting really tonight with the Gavitt games starting. We have DePaul and Minnesota, I believe, tonight.
We'll take DePaul in that one.
It's in Minnesota. DePaul is 1.5 favorites, though.
I'll still take DePaul.
And then we have Butler.
Minnesota's just scratched by a few games already this year. So
a couple times. Yeah. DePaul is actually favored on the road. When's the last time that's happened? But then we have Butler and Penn State.
I'll take Penn State because they're home team.
Give me Penn State at home as well. What did our good buddy Andrew call Thad to the bone?
Thad to the bone.
Butler. Thad to the bone. Thad Matta is back. And I'm sure he'll get him back to where maybe not they once were, but I think he'll make them significantly more competitive than Jordan made them.
Here's a little trivia. I almost used this as my birdie or bogey question. There's only one team undefeated in the Gavitt games. They're 3-0. Who is that team?
I think Illinois is 0-3. No, they beat DePaul in the first year of it, but no, they lost to Providence, beat DePaul, lost to Georgetown, lost to Marquette last year. 3-0. I mean Michigan.
No, good guess though.
Who is it?
Maryland.
Maryland, really?
Mm-hmm.
Are they in it this year?
I don't know. I just saw that question.
It's an interesting one. It does not look like they're in it because they play Binghamton tomorrow night. So, tomorrow night we have Northwestern at Georgetown. That's an even line.
That's only the parents are going to watch that game.
Yeah.
Give me Patrick Ewing, I guess, in Georgetown.
Georgetown had lost 21 in a row up until game 1, where they ended up squeaking by, I think, in overtime against a bad team, and they won the other night. But give me Northwestern on the road. I think Georgetown's trashed. That's why you don't hire legends. It's not going well for Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, never ends well either.
Yeah. Our favorite event of the year, the State Farm's Champions Classic, is played at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Kentucky, Michigan State, Duke, Kansas. Who you got in those?
I wouldn't mind if they switched up teams every year or every 2 years. It's the same 4 every single year, and it's just annoying. Who'd you say? Who plays who? I'm sorry. Who plays who?
Kentucky plays Michigan State.
I like Kentucky.
Yeah, give me Kentucky, and then I believe it's Duke, Kansas. It's usually those 4.
And I like Kansas.
Yeah, give me Kansas in that one as well. Marquette at Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue's first real test. Marquette's going to press them. Shaka Smart style, that's what he does. Shaka Smart's been a thorn in Matt Painter's side. Beat him in the NCAA tournament back in 2011 when he's at Virginia Commonwealth in the second round. On his way to a Final Four appearance where he lost to Butler. Speaking of Butler, before Butler eventually lost to UConn in the most boring national championship game of all time. And Matt's also lost to him twice when Shaka was at Texas. Now, this is Purdue's third time playing Marquette in these Gavitt games, but the first time playing them in West Lafayette. It's an 8:30 game tomorrow night, Fox Sports 1. With all that said, I think Purdue wins a tight one. And tight, I mean by under 10 points. I think it's a single-digit game. I think Purdue pulls it out. Zach Edey's been playing well, or at least had a big game the other night against Austin Peay. And then the freshmen, Fletcher Lawyer, Braden Smith, the 2 freshman starters, have been playing pretty well so far through 2 games. So anxious to see how they handle some tougher competition tomorrow. Don't know much about Marquette, though, so I'm taking Purdue. Let's go 78-71, Purdue.
Purdue at home is tough, obviously, to beat. Marquette isn't as good as they were last year, but still they'll press, and it'll be interesting to see how the freshman guards really handle that. So that'll be an interesting kind of matchup for them. However, Purdue at Mackey Arena, they haven't been shooting the ball well. If that continues, I still think they win, but it'll be a lower scoring game because both are really good defensive teams. Give me Purdue 66-58, low scoring.
I'll take it. Yeah, I think this Purdue team, after seeing their sample size so far through 2 games, I think they're going to be a better defensive team by far compared to last year's team. But they, of course, won't put up as many points. So.
And usually the defense is a little ahead of where the offense is at this point, for some schools anyway, I should say. Michigan at Pittsburgh on Wednesday night.
Michigan, pretty easily.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's trash. Iowa at Seton Hall.
Wait, did you say Michigan at Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Why are they playing?
That's not Gavitt games. I was thinking the old school Big East. No, it's just called Legends Classic. It must be in some sort. It's at the Barclays Center. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not at Pitt. Yeah.
Okay. Michigan, anyways.
Yeah. Iowa at Seton Hall, and what is the Gavitt games?
Give me the Hawkeyes.
Give me Iowa as well. I think they're dangerous for sure.
Mm-hmm. Chris Murray can go
Nebraska
off for 30
at St. John's. Yeah.
Give me Carbello and the Red Storm. Give me St. John's.
I was just about to say, give me Carbello and the boys. Give me St. John's. There's 2 more Gavitt games here. Indiana at Xavier.
Yeah, this will be a tougher test for Indiana than what they've played so far, but I think Xavier's a decent team, but I think Indiana's pretty good. I think they have more talent. Give me Indiana, but in a pretty close one.
Yeah, I think the Centos Center will be rocking, and it should be. Sean Miller's back at Xavier. Indiana hasn't been tested yet either, which not many teams have. But give me Indiana on the road.
Sean wants to get revenge for his little brother.
For his little brother, there you go. And then also Friday night, we have Villanova at Michigan State.
Who's Villanova's new coach?
I do not know, but I do know that I just checked and they were down 9-2 to a not very good team. And they've already lost a game. They lost to Temple. I could not name you their new coach, though.
Well, either way, I was going to take Michigan State, but I was just curious if you knew off the top of your head.
Yeah.
So give me the Spartans.
Give me Michigan State as well. And then the big one, in my land anyway, Friday night. Number 19, Illinois against number 8, UCLA at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
Oh, I don't know anything about UCLA. Haven't seen them play. Only seen Illinois play against Kansas City the other night, which if Kansas City wins 10 games, I'll be really surprised. Yeah. I'll go with the Illini in this one, J-Man. 2-point win. 2-point win for the Illini.
2-point win. Make me sweat it out.
Absolutely. It's time.
Give me UCLA. So far,
that's a shocker.
They've looked good in spurts, bad in spurts. I think UCLA's better, and again, with all the newcomers, it'll be interesting to see how they handle an actual legitimate title contender. Illinois needs to shoot a lot better. I mean, we saw them start, 1 for 19 from the floor.
Wasn't good, but Friday. They were the first to 10.
If they do that against UCLA, they'll find themselves down 25 in the first 10 minutes or so. But give me UCLA, and I think Illinois will keep it close. They'll be able to force some turnovers. I'll make it frustrating for them, but give me UCLA. And that's all the notable games, I would say.
Yeah, we have more to talk about next week. There's some really good tournaments going on Thanksgiving week, but the first 2 weeks of college basketball is just kind of blah for the most part, and everybody getting their feet wet.
Yeah, for the most part. Do you want to get educated here real quick?
I do.
On this day in 1943, Chicago Bear Sid Luckman passes for 7 touchdowns versus the New York Giants.
Probably the best quarterback in the franchise. Is he better than
Justin Fields? No, not if you talk to Bears fans. It's Justin Fields already.
Justin can run, but I still want him to see him do a little more in the passing game.
Got to start winning some games, too. Had a chance yesterday, and he threw a pick 6. On this day in 1957, who won the National League MVP?
57? Stan Musial? I don't know.
Hank Aaron.
Oh.
That was a good guess, though. That was a good guess. On this day in 1979, California's Don Baylor wins American League MVP. Rest in peace.
Remember him as a Cub coach, manager, I should say.
Yeah. On this day in 1990, James Worthy is arrested in Houston and charged with 2 counts of solicitation of a prostitute, I should say.
Oh, boy, James.
It's not a fun one to get arrested for.
No.
Who won the 1993 43rd NASCAR Sprint Cup on this day?
93. Let's go Bill Elliott.
Dale Earnhardt Sr.
He came to my mind right away, but I didn't think 93 was one of his years for some reason.
Also on this day in 1993, Don Shula becomes the coach with the most wins in NFL history.
When did he retire?
95-ish? I want to say Jimmy Johnson took over in 96. He was there a couple years. Kind of handcuffed Dan Marino a little bit, which was stupid. But that's Jimmy. And on this day in 2018, New York Mets pitcher Jacob deGrom won the National League Cy Young Award. His 10 wins were the fewest ever by a Cy Young winner in a non-strike shortened season. He led Major League Baseball with a 1.70 ERA.
I remember that.
Yeah, and that is going to do it for On This Day.
And that is the On This Day segment, which is brought to you by, like it is every week, Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated custom woodcraft shop based out of North Carolina with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs that fit your needs, from signs to grow charts. Their custom pieces make a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. To see some of their recently completed projects, visit at Mooney Woodcrafts on Instagram and Facebook. And for custom orders, contact them at mooneywoodcrafts@gmail.com. Makes the perfect gift for the sports fan in your family, or even if they're not a sports fan. If you're wanting a growth chart, if you're wanting a military sign, whatever it may be, get a hold of Thad. He can make it for you.
Yes, sir. You want to talk some college football?
Yes, I do. Real quick, loyal viewer of the show, Sean Shriver, just texted me. Said Don Baylor, who won MVP on this day in I got to bring it up here. Sorry, lost it. On this day in 1979 is the only pure DH to win an MVP.
Interesting. I did not know that.
There you go.
Did not come up there. Yeah, that's good. It's a nice little factoid by our stats guy, Sean Schreiber.
Yeah, he really is. He's like Tony Stats used to be on Pardon the Interruption.
He really is.
Yes, college football. Eventful weekend. Whew.
Yes. No one in the Big Ten now controls their own destiny to win the West. Not a single team.
Nope, it's the Wild Wild West.
Odds to win the West now. Yep, odds to win the West now that Purdue has beaten Illinois. Purdue has a 49.8% chance to win the West. Iowa has a 26.7% chance. Illinois a 12.7% chance. Minnesota a 10.4% chance. And Wisconsin a 0.3% chance. Here are these scenarios, if I can bring it up here real quick. Purdue must win out and have at least one Iowa loss. Illinois, assuming a loss versus Michigan, they would need to win versus Northwestern, have Purdue lose to either Northwestern or Indiana, and have Minnesota lose a game, and have Iowa lose a game.
So pretty much
Iowa
if they
needs
lose
to win out, or
if Illinois loses to Michigan, they're pretty much out of it.
They're probably, they're done. Iowa needs to win out, or they need to, or if they lose to Minnesota, they need to beat Nebraska and have a Purdue loss and have an Illinois loss. Or if they win versus Minnesota and loss versus Nebraska, they need Purdue loss, Illinois loss, and Minnesota loss. So does that technically mean Iowa kind of controls their own destiny if they win out?
Yeah.
That's so they must.
Unless Illinois won both, right? What if Iowa and Illinois both win? If they win out, if they both win out, then Illinois gets a tiebreaker over Iowa.
Correct, but Purdue would have the tiebreaker over Illinois should they lose. But that's trippy. I don't know how they'd maneuver that all out.
Well, it might go to overall record. It might go to overall record then, and then Illinois would have 9 wins, whereas Iowa and Purdue would only have 8.
They'd be 9-3.
Right.
Okay. Well, assuming Illinois loses to Michigan, which they will, and Iowa wins out, I guess they kind of control their own destiny. Mm-hmm. But they have at Minnesota and they play Nebraska. So
I saw that over-under for that Minnesota-Iowa games is the lowest of any game in like 36? The last decade. Yeah.
It was lower than the Northwestern Iowa?
Must have been.
No. Minnesota must win out and have a Purdue loss. Wisconsin has to win out and have an Iowa loss and have a Purdue loss and have an Illinois loss versus Northwestern. So Iowa has to lose versus both Minnesota and Nebraska. So that's why it's 0.3. But I will go on record and say I think Purdue gets to go play Ohio State or Michigan. Good luck to you.
I'll take it. I just wanted to say you finally won the West one time would be great. And I guess it is a game of football. Anything can happen, even though they would get blitzed by either team. But I just want Purdue to win the remaining two, and then what happens happens. If Iowa wins out, so be it. Iowa smacked Purdue around, and you got to beat who's on your schedule to win it all. So, but Purdue's back in a pretty good position again. Besides rooting for Jeff Brom and company, I'll be a big PJ Fleck and Minnesota fan this weekend for this weekend only.
It's gotta hurt.
It does hurt.
My word association actually is Big Ten championship related. It is just a random player from a team that got beat in the Big Ten championship game. So this is I have 10 of those, and then I just have 3 random Big Ten champion players. It's kind of a mixed list. But last year, Spencer Petras in Iowa.
He's still there, playing better ball as of late the last couple of weeks than he had. A guy that Ferentz believes in for some reason and never wants to give their backup a chance. But it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird next year when everybody looks terrible against Ohio State. But it's going to be weird next year when Iowa has a new quarterback because he feels like he's been there for a decade.
Yeah. Jack Cohn, Wisconsin.
Jack Cohn, forgot about him. Notre Dame quarterback last year. Yeah, serviceable quarterback. Kind of got Wally pipped at Wisconsin. Got hurt, and then Graham Mertz came in and had a great first game against Illinois in 2020, and he saw the writing on the wall. I was like, well, I'm not going to be playing anymore. I might as well transfer to Notre Dame.
Patty Fisher, Northwestern.
He was a good one. He was kind of like Pat Fitzgerald, a really good college player, really good linebacker, never made the pros.
Alex Hornibrook.
Remember the name. Can't even tell you much about him, though.
Lefty.
He was a lefty Wisconsin,
lefty
right?
quarterback from Wisconsin.
Okay, now it's coming back to me. Yeah, he wasn't good. Yeah.
Yeah, they thought he was going to be something because he had a really good freshman year, and he just didn't do a whole lot after that.
Didn't have to with that O-line and all those running backs they have.
Yeah, that's fair. TJ Watt.
Top 5 NFL defensive player when he's healthy. Guy's a beast. He was a beast in Wisconsin. A beast for longer at Wisconsin than his brother was because his brother transferred from Central Michigan. But fun player to watch. Glad he returned to the field for Pittsburgh yesterday.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't start having JJ's issue with injuries because JJ was looking like one of the greatest ever, and now he's going to probably scrap and claw just to get into the Hall of Fame at this point with all of his injuries.
I would say he's a Hall
probably
of Famer.
Still a safe bet, but
I
would too. But the injuries definitely knocked him down a peg.
Sure.
CJ Beathard.
Man, another Iowa guy. He actually had a cup of coffee in the NFL with San Francisco. But these are bringing back some memories of definitely some West teams and that weren't that great. Well, they were good teams, but then they got the Big Ten championship and, like you said, lost. But no, system quarterback.
The theme is a lot of these are Western.
System quarterback, sure. Like most Iowa quarterbacks are.
Joel Stave.
Man, you just don't remember these Wisconsin quarterbacks because all they do is hand off and let the running backs do the work.
Yeah.
Wow. I hadn't thought of that name in 5 years.
I hadn't either. I forgot about him. He was like a 4-year starter.
Did he have a mustache? If not, he should have with the name Stave. He should have had a nice mustache.
I don't remember. Braxton Miller.
He was a good one. Good athlete. Ended up finishing his career at Ohio State as a wide receiver. Then played a little wide receiver for the Houston Texans. Was kind of a hybrid, but just one of the many good quarterbacks in a row Ohio State's had.
Yep. Taylor Martinez.
I do remember him losing Wisconsin. They lost like 70-35, but he ran like a 70-yarder for a touchdown. Seemed like he was at Nebraska forever, and then the Martinez they just had seemed like he was at Nebraska forever, and I don't think they're related. Yep. So,
and the very first Big Ten championship loser is Kirk Cousins.
It's legends and leaders. Captain Kirk, man, he's maybe the best NFL quarterback when it comes to 1 p.m. Eastern time starts. Just don't put him at prime time. But actually, I want to see, hopefully he gets a prime time game soon because I want to see what he does because I told you the Vikings are for real. Now you believe me after yesterday.
I believe you now.
Yep.
I have 3 more here, and all of them were actually winners of a Big Ten championship before the Big Ten championship game was a thing. Le'Veon Bell, Michigan State.
Yeah, good one. Michigan State was a real good back for a long time for the Steelers. Then he won it out, so then he went to the Jets and was He's bounced around the league a little bit, in Kansas City and maybe somewhere else. But yeah, he was a good Spartan back. The first ever good Spartan back I can remember was T.J. Duckett. But then after T.J. Duckett, he probably was the next best one, or the following best one. He was better than Duckett, but what I'm saying is I don't remember any in between. I mean, there was a couple more they had, but those are the main 2 I remember growing up.
Yeah, Le'Veon NFL career ended poorly, for sure.
Yeah.
Terrell Pryor.
Another good Ohio State quarterback that got converted to wide receiver in the pros for the then Washington Redskins and the Oakland Raiders at the time, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a part of some good Jim Tressel teams. That's for sure. I do remember Ryan Kerrigan making his life not fun, though, on an October day in 2009.
Last one here, another Wisconsin quarterback, Scott Tolzien.
Colts backup. Actually played a little bit, I believe. I don't know what year that would have been. Didn't he play a little bit? I know he played, but I don't remember what year that was.
Yeah, Colts liked their Wisconsin quarterbacks to be backups. They had Jim Sorgi as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I remember Tolzien with the Colts as well. I don't know what year that would have been.
Besides Russell Wilson, Wisconsin's, now that more I think about it, their quarterbacks are kind of like the running backs and offensive linemen, that you can take the name off the jersey and the number, just put another one on, and they pretty much play the same.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That is going to do it for On This Day.
That was a fun list. I always like to go back in time and remember some Big Ten players. And that is not the On This Day. That's Word Association, Josh.
Word Association, I screwed that one up.
And Proforma Print 2 Promo Group is the sponsor of the Word Association, like they are every week. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, they have over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company today by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call at 574-210-3815.
You want to pick some Week 12 Big Ten games?
Yeah, can we talk about the Purdue-Illinois game a little bit first?
I would prefer not.
Well, mainly I just want to say I was surprised going into Saturday's game that Purdue hadn't lost in Champaign since 2010. I did not know that off the top of my head till the other day, and now they extended that. So that's 6 in a row they've won over in Champaign. I don't really understand why, but they're kind of making that Rossade West for themselves.
Illinois football is trash and has been forever. So that's why this is their best team since their Rose Bowl team, and I still don't even think they're all that good. They had a real fluky, nice stretch, but
I don't
back
know.
to being the same old Illini, man.
All the broadcasters have been talking about how good their defense is, and their defense is good.
It's gotten torched the past 2 weeks.
But really what hurt them was in the officiating was pretty suspect. But penalties, 121 yards of penalties, that's hard to overcome for anybody.
5 pass interference.
And really, they hadn't faced a passing team like Purdue all year. Probably hadn't faced a quarterback like Aiden O'Connell all year, even though he had some struggles coming into the game and even struggled in the first half. He played a pretty clean fourth quarter there when they really needed it.
Yeah, Illinois had a very easy schedule, which has helped their record look the way it is. And again, defense is solid, good run game, but again, they're Illinois football. They'll always be Illinois football. I've been in basketball mode for a couple weeks now, and hopefully, I think a lot of fans are starting to switch there already, even after just a 2-game losing streak.
Well, it looked like their crowd wasn't the greatest on Saturday, and it was bitter cold.
It was freezing.
But yeah, it's just kind of different cultures. I mean, if that was switched and Purdue was 7-2 at home and ranked 21, it would have been packed and ready to roll. But yeah, it was a interesting game to say the least. It just baffles my mind though how much better Purdue plays on the road than they do at home under Jeff Brom.
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, that's twice they've won against a ranked opponent this year on the road. At the time, ranked Minnesota and Illinois, and they also have a road win on Maryland. Now they have a road loss at Syracuse, which at the time didn't look too bad. Now it's not aging well. I don't know. It's just that's been a common theme under Jeff Brom. They play better on the road. They play good when their backs are up against the wall. Like a lot of Purdue fans wrote them off after the last 2 games, and deservingly so. They looked awful at Wisconsin and awful at home against Iowa, particularly after a bye week. And then they come out and win a game a lot of people didn't give them a chance to. So now we'll see what they can do when the next 2 teams they play are the worst 2 teams they've played all year, I think. And that includes Florida Atlantic. Well, okay, scrap Indiana State. That's not fair. But of the Division I teams. So let's see what they can do when they're actually favored big time. Can they actually not only win a game, but win it easily? They haven't had any really easy wins except Indiana State. All the rest, they've scratched and clawed for it. So,
I will say, even though I picked Illinois last week, I did say I think Purdue wins.
You did. You did later in the show.
I will say that. You
did.
But,
You did. But now we can pick some games. I just want to get out of my system a little bit.
Illinois at Michigan.
Yes. Let me flip over my notes here. Michigan is a 17.5-point favorite, according to DraftKings, or according to the Score app, excuse me. I have Michigan for 6 confident points.
I have Michigan for 5. So, yeah, I don't think Illinois has much of a shot whatsoever against Michigan, especially if Chase Brown's out.
Michigan's running back's got a chance maybe to win the Heisman.
Yeah, Blake
Corum. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch him. Excuse me, and C.J. Stroud go head-to-head because they're both in the Heisman race. So
yeah, I think Illinois' defense can keep it close because I don't think they fear McCarthy that much for Michigan. But again, at Michigan, it's probably I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan wins right at 17. That seems about right.
And the thing is, you could look at these matchups and Ohio State's matchup with Maryland. You could say, whoa, they might be overlooking their opponents to next week. Mm-hmm. But I think both those teams are so focused right now on their main goal. I don't see that happening. But
no, I don't
you never know.
Never know. Wisconsin at Nebraska.
Wisconsin's a 12.5-point favorite. I know Nebraska's not playing very well, and the record's not good at 3-7, but it still baffles me. The point spreads, they're underdogs lately at home.
Yeah.
I think Wisconsin wins. I'm putting 1 confident point on it, but I think Nebraska covers that spread.
I agree. I have Wisconsin for 1. There's a lot of blowout potential for some of these other games, but and this is probably the one that I think will be the closest. But yeah, give me Wisconsin for 1. Northwestern at Purdue.
Yeah, we just talked about this game a little bit. I see Purdue, according to the Score apps, an 18-point favorite. Somebody said, according to FanDuel, Purdue is a 20.5. If they get to 20 or above 20, that'd be the first time Purdue's favored at home against a Big Ten opponent by 20 or more since Northwestern or since Illinois, I believe, in 2005.
Wow.
Been a long time.
Yeah.
I do think Purdue wins, and I think Purdue wins pretty easily. Northwestern's 1-9, hasn't won a game on U.S. soil.
They're awful.
Aiden O'Connell senior day, Charlie Jones senior day, even though he's only 1 year Boilermaker. I think Aiden goes out big with a big game. 4 points. 4 points though for Purdue because there's a couple more I feel just more confident in, I guess.
I have Purdue for 6. Northwestern's the worst team in the Big Ten by a wide margin. I'll be surprised if Purdue wins by less than 20. That's how bad Northwestern is.
It will be cold.
It was cold last week too.
It's true.
IU at Michigan State.
Yeah, Spartans are 10.5-point favorites. Indiana cannot make a bowl now with a record of 3-7. Things are not going good for Tom Allen down there. Don't know who's going to play quarterback for him. Up in East Lansing, I don't think it's going to matter. Mel Tucker's team's 5-5. I think they win this game and go bowling, but I only have 3 confident points on the Spartans.
I only have 2 on Michigan State. It does seem like it's getting real ugly there in Indiana, though, and it wouldn't surprise me if they just implode the rest of the year. But at the same time, I don't really trust Michigan State. So Michigan State for 2. Ohio State at Maryland.
Ohio State's a 28-point favorite. I think they make another statement on the road and give me Ohio State for 7. They're just that good. Yep. And Maryland's not playing very good football right now.
Yep, Ohio State for 7, agreed. Penn State at Rutgers.
I got Penn State for 5 here. They're 20-point favorites. Once again, just a complete mismatch.
I have Penn State for 4. Iowa at Minnesota.
Minnesota 3-point favorite at home. Pretty good game here, I think. Maybe I'm going with my heart here. I got the Golden Gophers for 2.
I have Minnesota for 3. I think Minnesota's a little bit better than Iowa. If Iowa gets past this one, though, and gets Nebraska at home, they're probably going to do it.
Yep.
So this
and
is
Kirk Ferentz will be laughing all the way to Indy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. But I will say that I won Big Ten Pick'em this week. It did not go as well for me in the NFL for the 3rd straight week.
We haven't disagreed on a Big Ten matchup in like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
it's just been point differences.
Yeah. Some top 25 games here. I won't do a few of them, or only do a few of them, I should say.
Can't do too many of the SEC matchups because they're all playing cupcake.
They're all cupcake city
like
this
Austin
week.
P and those sorts of teams.
Georgia and Kentucky do play, but Kentucky's kind of imploding as well.
Yeah, Georgia smack them.
Number 18, Texas at Kansas. How is Texas still? This must be not be. It's not updated rankings, but Texas is probably still ranked, even though they're 6-4.
Because ESPN loves Texas.
Yep. And they're 9-point favorites.
They didn't want to talk about TCU at all the other nights. Who are they playing at Kansas?
At Kansas.
I do think Texas gets that.
I do too.
Gets that done though.
Yeah. The 2 games of the week are in the Pac-12. Believe it or not.
Yep.
Number 8 USC travels all the way to Pasadena, California, to face number 12 UCLA.
I see they are taking down 2 logos that cover up some places in the stands. Ooh. They're opening up 17,000 more seats for this game.
Expect 25,000 then. That's going to be a big one.
A bigger crowd than normal. My dad made a good point earlier today. Watch for Caleb Williams to potentially win the Heisman.
He's thrown for over 3,000 yards and 30.
His next 2 games are on the national scene against big opponents, and then the Pac-12 championship would be. So this is his chance to do something.
Yep.
UCLA, bad loss to Arizona. USC's only loss was a close loss to a pretty good Utah team. Give me the Trojans in this one.
USC's 2.5-point favorites. I'm taking the road team. Give me USC as well. And then for the other game, that's a 10:30 Eastern time game. Number 13, Utah traveling to Autzen Stadium, coming off a loss against Washington, Oregon.
Oregon cannot get over the hump, Josh. It doesn't matter who's their coach. It doesn't matter who their quarterback is. It doesn't matter what stud talent they have around that quarterback. They shoot themselves in the foot every single year. A couple years ago, it was like a Thursday night game against Arizona State. The other night, it was against Washington. It's not – Washington's a good team. Don't get me wrong. It's not because they lost to a bad Washington team. It's how they lost. They choked that thing away bad. And Bo Nix said bye-bye to any Heisman consideration he was in for. Give me Utah on the road. I think Oregon's going to be down the dumps.
Give me Oregon at home. USC is the Pac-12's only hope at this point, and they already have a loss. So it'll be interesting to see if they get in or not. But I think Oregon bounces back. Utah's starting to play some good football here recently. They needed to. But, give me Oregon. Actually, you know what? No, I'll wait to do my book it. Give me Oregon.
And Notre Dame hosts Boston College. Notre Dame's 20-point favorite. Boston College did have a really good upset road win over a ranked NC State team.
Very surprising.
Notre Dame about got caught from behind against Navy somehow. But, yeah, I think Notre Dame rolls, and then they will meet with USC the last week of the year.
Yeah. NFL time. 3 winners, 3 losers.
Well, my first winner, and we didn't even get to talk about this on last week's podcast because it was announced on Tuesday that Jeff Saturday was the interim head coach going forward for the Indianapolis Colts. I made fun of that. I laughed at that. But I got to give props where props is due. Impressive win over the over the Las Vegas Raiders yesterday. Wasn't the prettiest, but they got it done, and their players looked like they were playing harder than they had in weeks previous. So Colts are one of my winners.
Yeah, they are one of my winners as well. We made fun of the Jeff Saturday thing, which we had every right to do. Everyone was making fun of it. Still makes 0 sense. Still think it was a really dumb thing for Irsay to do. But hey, got to give credit where it's due. He kept the team together, and they found a way to win against a team that is just flatlining. Derek Carr's not going to be back next year. Josh McDaniels, 50-50 in my opinion at this point if he's back. It's ugly. Very ugly. One of my other winners, and I'm sure you have them on the list as well, the Minnesota Vikings.
You betcha.
Look at Kirk. Man, coming back from 14 down on the road.
17 down, wasn't it?
Was it 17?
Mm-hmm.
In Buffalo. That was insane. That fumble at the goal line, that fumble recovery by Eric Kendricks to give the Vikings the lead with 41 seconds left was the first go-ahead non-offensive touchdown scored by a trailing team in the last minute of the fourth quarter since 1986.
Ooh, there's a good stat.
Can you believe it? That was insane.
Yeah, I mean, two good teams going at it, but also you look at Buffalo. I mean, they're still very, very good. They got 3 losses, and I don't think Buffalo can win in Kansas City. They need to get home field to have a chance.
They already did win in Kansas City.
Well, yes, they did. Thank you. But postseason, the postseason. But thank you for correcting me. I forgot about that. But I think the road to Lamar Hunt's got to run through Kansas City again.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of the Bills in Kansas City, they have not scored a second half touchdown since week 6 in Kansas City. Week 7, they were on bye. Week 8 versus Green Bay, they scored 3 points in the second half. Versus the Jets in week 9, 3 points in the second half. Versus Minnesota this past week, just 6 points on 2 field goals. So something's going on there. Josh Allen's leading the NFL in interceptions thrown. So very dangerous team, but they obviously have some issues.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My last winner, Tampa Bay Bucks. I think those final 40 seconds against the Rams turned their season around, unfortunately. And the Bucks will be a force to reckon with the rest of the way.
How about that crowd in Munich yesterday? Pretty cool.
That was great. Yeah. Pretty
good. They enjoyed themselves. They really did. My last winner, another team I've been given a lot of grief, so I got to give credit where credit's due. That's the Green Bay Packers. Mm-hmm. Good overtime win against the Dallas Cowboys yesterday, including the playoffs. The Cowboys were 195-0 all-time when leading by 14 or more points going into the fourth quarter. That streak was snapped at the hands of Aaron Rodgers yesterday and the Green Bay Packers, and maybe the Packers get back rolling and could maybe somehow limp their way into the playoffs. I don't know. 6 losses already. I think their percentage to make the playoffs still at 18%. Well, that's higher than it would have been yesterday with the loss. Mm-hmm. So credit where credit's due. Good win for the Packers in overtime yesterday. 3
losers.
One of my losers, I'm tired of putting the Raiders in my losing category. So I just threw Josh McDaniels in the losing category. He's awful. He's an awful head coach. Really, I think aside from Andy Reid, the other 3 coaches of the AFC West, good potential. They all 3 are looking for employment after the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, Josh McDaniels is just a disaster. I would love it if Denver could put the final nail in the coffin for him this weekend, and it comes full circle for him as a head coach.
It'd be pretty funny.
But I don't know if it'll happen or not.
Yeah. I should just put the AFC West besides the Kansas City Chiefs on this
Every
list.
week you could, pretty much.
I have 2 other teams on here. Chargers are one of my losers.
Me too.
Had a lead on the road in San Francisco. Herbert does what he has done his entire career, which is just not win games. And he didn't even look good last night at all. So it seems like that narrative starting to change a little bit. They can blame injuries all they want, but he's not a guy that's won, and that's an issue. Mm-hmm. Denver Broncos are one of my losers. Had a lead. They were up 10-3 at one point, weren't they?
10-0 at one point.
10-0 at one point. Didn't score in the second half. Chargers lost. They could have just been a game behind for a playoff spot because now the Patriots are in that 7th spot right now, facing a Carolina team in 2 weeks. I forget. Oh, they play the Raiders this week, then Carolina, correct? Had a chance to go on a little bit of a run, and they didn't. They had 2 weeks to fix the offense, and they didn't.
It's not fixable at this point. I could complain about injuries too because they are very injured, but it doesn't matter. When your defense is injured, they're still finding ways. Yeah. Their defense is the best scoring defense in the NFL, giving up 16.6 points per game. Their offense is the worst scoring offense in the league, averaging 14.6 points per game. I mean, if I'm a defensive player, I just want to strangle somebody on offense. Mm-hmm. I mean, they held Derrick Henry to 53 rushing yards, 2.8 yards per rush, and lost the game. Yeah. Their second half drive yesterday, punt, game-ending interception after getting down near the red zone. Yeah. It's just maddening. Nathaniel Hack, after the game yesterday, the defense did their job. They did a great job throughout the game. I quote tweeted and said, like they have every single game. I mean, this team has lost by 1 score or less every loss except the Raider loss. They're this close. All they got to do is just get a little bit, anything from the offense, and the offense can't do it. And I know the offensive line's in shambles now with injuries, but I don't care. When you pay a quarterback that much money, you find a way to pull out some of these victories, and they're not doing it. When the Jets make the playoffs here in about 2 months, the Broncos will be the longest 10-year playoff drought in the league going back to 2015.
Speaking of the Titans, they are the exact opposite of the Broncos, where they have found a way to get it done because their offense has only outgained one team so far this year, and they're 6-3.
Yep, they just find a way. Yep, it's the margin's thin, and they find a way. My last loser is the Cowboys. I know I hit on the game with the Packers, but they were on the wrong side of history.
They were up 14.
Just when I'm thinking in my head in the fourth quarter, I'm like, I'm going to go on the podcast tomorrow and say the Cowboys are my NFC representative as of right now for the Super Bowl. Nope. Glad I don't have to come on and say that today because they proved me wrong. So,
yeah. As I said, you beat me in pick'em.
3 straight, J-Man. What's the excuse this week?
The excuse this week is the teams I picked did not win as much as they should.
That's valid. Very valid.
It's also very true. Thursday night is actually a halfway decent matchup for the first time in forever. Tennessee Titans at the Green Bay Packers.
I've talked a lot of trash about Green Bay the last few weeks. Even said I wasn't going to pick them the rest of the year. Well, I lied. I'm taking that back because I want to win 4 straight. And just because of that, I'm taking the Packers for 3 points.
I'm taking the Packers for 2, so your strategy wasn't all that.
I still don't trust them, but
I don't either.
I just think they're better. They got more talent than the Titans, but Derrick Henry could go run for 200 yards. So.
Yeah. Another loser from my week could have been the Atlanta Falcons. Good Lord, that was embarrassing.
They were trash.
Chicago Bears at the Atlanta Falcons.
I think the Falcons bounce back. The Bears, they're putting up points, but it doesn't matter. They're losing games. I think the Falcons get it done. Give me the Falcons for 6.
This will be the J-Man's Book It prediction of the week. Give me the Bears on the road. 1 point. I'll tell you why. Atlanta is the worst offense the Bears have faced here the past couple weeks where they've scored points. So if they score 31, 35, whatever against the Falcons, they will beat the Falcons, in my opinion.
Did you know the Bears have rushed for 200 yards 5 straight games, the longest streak since the 1976 Steelers?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I actually have some Tua stats here before we get any farther. There have only been 2 players in NFL history that have had 3 consecutive games with 275 pass yards, 3 pass touchdowns, and a 135-plus passer rating. Tua Tagovailoa and Kurt Warner, who won the MVP.
Good company to be in.
With Tua on the field this year, Miami is averaging 6.8 yards a play, which is tied for second most ever yards per play in a season. The 2000 Rams had 7 yards per play. Marshall Faulk won MVP. 18 Chiefs had 6.8 yards per play. Mahomes won MVP. 2011 Saints, 6.7. Breeze was MVP runner-up. 2004 Colts, Manning MVP. 2016 Falcons, Ryan MVP. 2001 Rams, Warner MVP. Tua deserves some MVP buzz. And he's starting to get it a little bit.
Crowd was chanting it the other day.
They were. Cleveland at Buffalo.
Buffalo for 14. Oh, no. Buffalo for 13. Excuse me.
I have Buffalo for 14. Yeah, they bound. They're not losing 3 in a row. Cleveland's trash. Philadelphia Eagles at the Indianapolis Colts.
If Saturday and the Colts can give Philadelphia their first loss, because I think Philly wins tonight against Washington, if they can give them their first loss, then they're going to make some rumbles around the NFL. But I think Philly's too talented. Give me Philly for 8.
Philly for 6. New York Jets at the New England Patriots.
Right now, if the season ended, all AFC East teams would be in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I think the Jets get the revenge on the road against the Patriots. Jets for 2.
Give me the Patriots for 11. Jets suck. LA Rams at the New Orleans Saints.
Saints for 1, because I don't know who's playing quarterback for the Rams.
Rams are garbage. They're done. I declared them done before, or declared them done last week, and then they lost to Arizona.
And Cooper Kupp's hurt.
And Cooper Kupp's hurt. With all
he's on my fantasy team. Woo!
I'm taking the Rams for 7 for 0 reason. I don't know why. Detroit Lions at the very overrated New York Giants.
They just keep winning, though, Josh. They're gonna. I mean, they might not do much in playoffs, but they're gonna get there. Give me the Giants for 12.
Giants for 5. Carolina Panthers at the Baltimore Ravens.
Ravens for 11.
I have the Ravens for 13. Baker is starting for Carolina, though. I don't know if that'll change.
Yeah, it won't matter.
Washington football team at the Houston Texans.
Are we sure Baker's not concussion protocol after headbutting all his teammates without a helmet on? Yeah. Give me the Washington Commanders for 7.
I have Washington for 8. Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos. Game of the week.
You know, I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and a lot of times when somebody's leaving a company and somebody's storyline's in trouble, they do a loser leaves town match. This is what should be between Josh McDaniels and Nathaniel Hackett. Loser leaves town match. Give me the Broncos for 5.
I have the Broncos for 3. They're going to get it done on Sunday. Dallas Cowboys at the Minnesota Vikings.
I have the Vikings, but only for 4. I think this will be a good one.
I have the Vikings only for 4 as well. Would not be surprised if Dallas beats them. Cincinnati Bengals at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Good win for the Steelers yesterday. Kenny Pickett's best NFL game to date, but give me the Cincinnati Bengals for 9.
I have the Bengals for 12. Kansas City Chiefs at the LA Chargers.
I am taking the Chiefs on the road for 14 points. Chargers lose back-to-back Sunday night games.
I am taking the Chiefs for 10. San Francisco 49ers at the Arizona Cardinals.
I really wish San Francisco would lose out so Denver would have a decent first-round pick, but that's not going to happen. Give me San Fran on the road for 10.
I have San Fran for 9. I think Arizona's terrible. So that is going to do it for Pick'em this week. And before we get any further, this episode is brought to you by The Dam Landing. Whether you're an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, hand-bread, tenderloin, seafood, craft beer, or a handcrafted cocktail, Dam Landing is the place to be. The Dam Landing is a bar and grill located on beautiful Lake Manitou, focused on freshness and quality. You can wash down their delicious foods when there's 16 beers on tap, including a constant rotation of today's best microbrews and domestic flavors, or a handcrafted cocktail made using fresh ingredients. Taking the fantastic views of Lake Manitou on their beer garden or outdoor bar area with a riverboat or wheels, the Dam Landing is the place to be. Located 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester.
Did you say who J-Man's Book Prediction Week?
J-Man's Book Prediction Week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watching for life, home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watching@ib.com.
Justin Fields is the 4th player in NFL history to record both a 50-yard passing touchdown and 50-yard rushing touchdown in the same game, alongside Ace Parker and what 2 other players?
As I said, Lamar Jackson did it week 2 against the Dolphins. He ran for an 81-yarder and threw an 80-yarder to Rashad Bateman or something like that. He is one of them, right? I hope I'm not.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Like, oh, did I get that wrong? The other guy, there's a couple guys that come to mind. It seems like one's super obvious. I don't want to take him, but I feel like I should take him because it's the safest choice, and that's Mike Vick.
No, sir.
Okay. That's why I shouldn't have taken him. Who was it?
Cam Newton.
Cam! Man, I should have thought of Cam. That would have been a much better choice. Vic would have been way too obvious. Well,
Hey, get a par, though. I'll give you a par.
You're going to give me a par for that? Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you a par. I'm going to be nice. You remember that? Remember that in the future when you have multiple?
I remember that.
Give me a par because I could make myself one stroke back, but I'll keep two because I like a challenge.
I remember that.
And I feel bad for you. Your line I lost. You've lost 3 straight and pick 'em. I'm giving you a ball.
The pick'em thing upsets me more than the Illinois loss does. Thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show live on the ISC Sports Network. We will be back at it next Monday with another episode. Have a fantastic week, everybody.